Hi, I'm Philip Hessburg. I'm an ophthalmologist. I'm the medical director of the Detroit Institute of Ophthalmology, and I am a senior staff ophthalmologist in the Henry Ford Health System. And I'd like to tell you about an endeavor of the Institute or the health system called the Eye and the Chip. The Eye and the Chip is the 11th World Congress that we brought together to discuss visual nanoelectronic devices or prosthetics. These are devices which will be placed either in the eye or the brain to give persons who have lost a majority of their vision some level of useful vision. We'll be doing that again in Detroit between the 10th and the 12th of November. At that meeting, we will have about 80 of the world's leading authorities on this subject meeting to discuss the subject of nanoelectronic visual prosthetic devices. Now, as you may know from looking on the internet, there are 4 approaches to artificial vision or to giving vision to people who are blind. One of those is stem cell therapy, another is gene therapy, a third is the optical genetic theory or system. We're interested in nanoelectronic devices. So among the 4 systems of correction of blindness through artificial vision, we are the one which has had the most devices implanted. More people have been helped with these devices than with any of the other 3. There are challenges that remain. We have to understand the brain better, and we have to have some level of sophistication improvements in the devices themselves. When we talk about the brain, we're really talking about the retina on the inside of the eye, which is simply part of the brain which is extended out on a stalk to the inside of the eye. And so there are advances that have to be made, and there are biological advances which we still need. So although we're well along in this world, there's a long way to go. But it is true that in the future, with artificial vision, we will have cured blindness. So people who are now blind have a day when they can look forward to for some level of useful vision. And that's why we put on the Eye and the Chip in November. And we're proud to say that it has grown over the years. It's under the leadership of Joseph Rizzo from Harvard and from us at the Detroit Institute of Ophthalmology. 20 years ago, we could have held this Congress in a large phone booth. Today, it's grown to the point where we will have over 100 people in attendance, and we think it's the most important meeting anywhere in the world on nanoelectronic visual prosthetic devices. So we're proud to say that we represent the Eye and the Chip. We're proud that we're from the Henry Ford Health System and the Department of Ophthalmology and the Detroit Institute of Ophthalmology. We would welcome you in Detroit in mid-November.
What topics will be discussed at this year's Eye and the Chip?
Well, we believe that that collegiality facilitates collaboration, and that collaboration advances progress. So in November, there will be people speaking both at the biological level, and there will be people speaking in the neurological level, and people speaking about the devices themselves and advances that have been made in the past 2 years in those devices. And a lot has happened in the past 2 years. One of the things that happened in the past 2 years is that more and more we are looking at visual cortical devices, where initially the devices that were implanted here in the retina and also in Europe in the retina, those devices need work to make them more sophisticated, And the change that's happened in the past 2 years is that the devices for the cortex in the brain have been advanced. So at the Eye in the Chip, there will be several presenters talking about visual cortical devices, that is, devices in the visual cortex of the brain to relieve blindness.
And where are these devices implanted?
The devices that I'm talking about, which are cortical devices, are implanted in the visual cortex of the brain, which is the absolute posterior portion of the brain. So they're only used in people who don't have functioning retinal ganglion cells or a functioning pathway. So young people coming back from Afghanistan or from any of our conflicts who have lost both eyes can't have a device in the eye or attached to the optic nerve simply because those biological tissues no longer exist.
Where can we find out more information about Eye in the Chip or get involved with the conference?
They find that by calling Roseanne Horne. Roseanne can tell you all about the meeting itself. She can tell you about sponsorship opportunities, which we are always looking for. And she can tell you about who's going to be there and what they're going to be talking about. She can send you a copy of the agenda, which is now pretty well set in place as to who's doing the speaking and when they're speaking. So those people who are interested in the Eye in the Chip might call Roseanne Horne.
Thank you, Dr. Hessburg. We appreciate you sharing your time with us.